One of my clients just cost themselves over $1 million by investing in startups. And the weird part about all this is that their startup investments actually made them money. So this client had a bunch of mates that were pretty serious investors, and they were fairly heavily involved in the startup space. They always got to chatting, generally sharing some of their success stories, maybe leaving out a couple of the non-successful ones. And my client ended up deciding to take the leap and put about 100 grand into this startup investment. After making the investment, it started going up in value, and Dave was watching this. He was pretty happy with the results. Everything seemed to be going pretty swimmingly. Then some other good stuff started happening. But all of this good stuff happening ended up turning into a problem for this client of mine. So he started getting pay bumps at work, started really hitting his straps from an income perspective. So his savings were building up even faster, his regular savings and the amount that he had saved. Now his big goal was to purchase a property, and with his higher income and higher savings capacity, it meant that the property purchase was possible a lot sooner than what he'd otherwise thought. Now, this is where the challenge came in, though, because all of these things are good. He had a startup that was making him money. He had more savings. He had more savings capacity. He had more borrowing capacity. But with startup investments, these are long duration investments. The average time it takes a startup investment to list on the stock exchange, i.e. the amount of time it takes you to get your payday when you invest in a startup, is 11 years. So for my client, he had to wait, even though his money was going up on paper, he couldn't actually get his money back out. And that money would have been used for a property deposit to allow him to purchase a property, get into the market sooner, and be able to spend more on his purchase. Because he couldn't do that, it meant that he had to wait longer to buy the property. It meant that he could spend less on the property. And this all happened at a time where the property market was increasing in value. So he did end up buying his property, but he had to pay more for the same property. And he ended up spending less, which meant that his investment was smaller than what it otherwise would have. Now, all of these things, when we added them up, it cost him about $175,000 in this year. But when you compound that out over the long term, the cost went out over the $1 million mark. It seems weird to think that investments that make you money end up costing you money at the same time. And while it's likely that he is going to cash out in this startup investment and maybe double his money, the price that he actually paid was so much more because of the constraints around property purchase. This shows that investments that make you money aren't always the best investments for you. You want to make sure that they fit in with your planning and the other things that you've got going on.